Today I'm going to be showing you guys how to make a YouTube thumbnail, aka basically thumbnails you guys see on YouTube, on your YouTube videos, pretty much cool stuff that creators use and all that, stuff like that. And we're going to be using Google Drive, specifically Google Drawings, to make that happen. Now, I've used Google Drawings for a long time, since 2015, and even though it's not like a program or anything else, the one thing I did like about it is that it was for free, and you could do pretty much almost anything you would more easily than a regular system software type for what you guys use for thumbnails. But it's basically for free, anyone can make it. The only thing you will need is a laptop or computer and a Google account. So without further ado, let's get started. So like I said, Google account, you go on to new right here, and you can put into right here called the first icon right here, Google Drawings. You click that. And as you can see, we have a nice little template. But as you guys can, it doesn't look like a. It looks like 4x3 right here. That's because it is technically. So what we're going to do next is that we're going to press File, go all the way down to a section called Page Setup, which is the third from the bottom. And you're going to tell it to go to 16:9, and that's important because that's what the current ratio of the thumbnails are. So next part is what we're going to do with this thumbnail, how to do certain things. So first, we're going to need a few things on just the internet. You're going to use the browser right there. So for an idea, we're going to make a Smash Bros thumbnail. So first thing we're going to do is we're going to type in the game. We're going to type in Super Smash Bros for the Wii U. And obviously if you do that, it just shows a lot of stuff here. But here's the catch, and we're gonna put PNG at the end, because that's important, because not only we're gonna get the game, we're also gonna find out what the other PG elements. So title of the game, as you can see, it's right here. It's gonna load in a minute. You gotta make sure it always loads in and all that part. We're gonna go back and reload it, because as you can see, it's kind of acting a bit stupid. Now usually it's supposed to have like a little checkered pattern around here. But of course it'll sometimes act up, so it probably don't want to download, so sometimes you have to search up other logos. And of course sometimes you have to go over here better, because sometimes it doesn't want to show you the pictures. But as you can see, we have this. We copy the image. Now this is important. You gotta copy the image, but make sure there's nothing on the background. As you guys can see, there's no white background, and that's important when looking for an image. So we're gonna put the game, whatever you want, as long as it's visible. But I wouldn't recommend putting it right here, because that's where the timer is gonna be. So I'm gonna put it right here, and like so. And now comes the next part, which is the person. Now, I would recommend, with usually Smash Bros, like sometimes to put a character in, but for us, we're gonna put Mario as on the thumbnail. So Mario, oh, bruh, I can't type today apparently, bruh, Mario. And sometimes it's best to put Smash Bros as well, because sometimes it gives them the render. What we are going to do is we're going to put the render for Smash 4, since technically the Wii U version, this will be his renders. So we're going to try to put it right here. Sometimes it doesn't load, it doesn't show the checkerboard in the background. We're going to try to refresh it, or wait for it a little bit to show it if it does checkers or not. This might do. Sometimes it does do that, but will it show something? Oh, okay, it does that. And of course, you can put it like this. However, for making it look a bit cooler, I recommend try to zoom it in to the point where it would look like this. So you get like the nice, beautiful angle, like the little close-up of Mario flexing. So as you can see, it's right here. And of course, Control Shift up or down will bring it to layers right here, so you can see right there it's basically like that. But you can put it like this, Next thing we could also do is you go to format right here, options, you could put the drop shadow right here with distance and stuff, and sometimes it'll look nice like this, like a less shadow, angle the shadow, make the shadow transparent, or like this, or give it a nice blur, which is like this. And you can do pretty much some cool stuff with it. I'm even gonna leave it like this, and give it some nice blur, and transact. And the next thing I'm going to do is for a cool background, Battlefield Smash Brothers. And of course, there's a nice background. We're going to put this one, even though this one's from Ultimate. It'll be nice to put it in the back. You can put it like this, like so. And of course, since this one needs some attention too, we'll also put the drop shadow right here. Make it look nice, more exposed. You could also change the color of the background as well. We could put it to white, red, blue as well. Another blue. You could do like a lot of cool colors. You could put it to blue like this, since technically this game is the blue version. And of course, you can leave it like this, but you can also put a cool title. So for right here, you can go to Insert, Word Art, and that part. You could say, I don't know, you could type something cool, like you could put the episode number 1. Here's the number 1. And of course, you could also put some cool fonts right here, like the episode number. You can put it right there, like this. You can also do some cool other types of art. You can also do something like this. You can mess with it. I'll show you some example right here. This is Custom Track Grand Prix, and as you can see, I made this nice design with the number 1. As you can see, it does take a bit of work, but you can make some cool art patterns with this. It isn't really hard. It's just you have to do it at a certain angle a little bit, so it's really not that hard. But yeah, you can also do this as well. This one just requires less effort, honestly. You can sometimes just put 2 colors or 4 to get the pattern, and it'll look nice like so, like that. If you want to see an example, here's one I could do right now. So this is the top. We could put a nice red or a nice black, or perhaps we could put a nice gray. And then for the bottom, we could put a nice blue. And in the middle right here, we could put another lighter gray. And then for this one, we could put a lighter blue. As you guys can see, there is a bit of like a line to it right there. Sometimes that'll affect it to make it look nicer or worse, depending on how much you want the design. You can also put the line right here to make it look nicer or sharper. But if you really want to go ham with the numbers, format goes back to drop shadow we did earlier, and you could basically do what we did earlier, which is make a drop shadow, but instead of it being an actual drop shadow, you can make it more 3D looking. So right here, just go max out to 0 on the blur radius, max out to 0 on the transparency, and as you can see, it makes it a nice 3D, a more 3D like font, similar to how Nintendo does it with Mario. And you can also adjust the outline right here to make it move more better or worse depending on how you want it, and it makes it look more decent. Same goes for the angle. You can make it more different in terms of the angle, a nice reverse, like a reverse 3D effect in a way. Same goes for distance. You could make it nicer or worser. It really depends on what angle it is, of course, because sometimes you can make it better and worse, but just keep that in mind when making a thumbnail on how far or less you can make it in terms of the 3D on the numbers. And of course, obviously this looks worse, so we'll adjust this to make it look nicer. We'll just remove everything right here. Type and remove, tap and remove, tap this, we'll put it to, oh, I guess we could put it to a nice little light blue to light blue. We could change it to, we could change the angle. So this is on linear mode. We could change it to the angle of degrees, 180, 360, a few other nice beautiful angles. We'll put it to 45-degree angle. We'll put this one to a darkish blue. Sometimes it's hard to see. You have to sometimes mess with the colors. Here's how you guys can see. It's on a nice little black line right here. You could put a little middle right here. Put this right there. Put this right here. Do another one with the light blue. And look, we have a nice little line right here. Sometimes I recommend putting the one color over the other to make the blue more accurate, so like there's no blur. You guys won't be able to see that much, but there's a blur right here. If you put it on top, there is no blur. So I recommend doing that if you're gonna make some nice designs with this. Also try to remember what color you're using as well, because sometimes remembering that each color is hard when making these types of art right here. You can do this. And as you guys can see, we're making a nice little pillar effect right here. Basically, long ass pillars right here. And yeah. And as you guys can see, it looks pretty interesting. This of course is an idea. Obviously I messed up on this part right here, but this is a little idea of what you guys are capable of making nice designs for the color and all that. So just want to keep that in mind. In worst case scenario, you guys could just find a PNG nice design of Mario's font with numbers. You just put that on here if you wanted to, but yeah. You can basically put it like this. This is more of a let's play format, so this is one way of making a nice thumbnail. And as a bonus, there are different ways of how you guys can make it. Usually I recommend that you download, then download it as a PNG image. To do that, you go to File, Download, and PNG. Primarily because YouTube is always very piggy when it comes to making thumbnail sizes. The limit is 2 gigabytes. I'm sorry, 2 megabytes I should say, sorry. 2 megabytes is the limit of how big the image must be for the thumbnail. And so this is under 2 gigabytes basically. It will look a bit worse, but it will look nice regardless though. You could also mess with page setup and then go to custom and put this under pixels, and then you could put it to the recommended pixels of what the thumbnail should be on YouTube. But be warned, if you change any of this settings on here, it will look different on certain stuff like the number. It'll look smaller, the outline will be smaller, and you will have to do some workarounds to make it look nicer again. So if you change some parts of the page, it will affect how it will look if you were to download it and put it onto YouTube. So keep that in mind when making a thumbnail. Regardless, let me download this, and you guys, I'll put on the screen on how it will look like if you do it on your end, and it will look nice. Okay, so we got this nice setup right here. I'm gonna bring it closer. This is what it looks like, and it could do better obviously, but maybe I put Mario a bit more to the right. But this is just an example of how you guys can make a thumbnail. You can also make the number bigger, of course, where you just made it like this, and maybe you can maybe angle the game letter cricket a little bit to make it more unique and everything else. Sometimes it's also best to maybe not put it like this, but maybe do something different. Sometimes people use video games inbuilt camera to make their thumbnails and adjust it on different software or on Google as well. But this is just an example of how you guys can make your thumbnails with Google drawings on here for those who are in need of making thumbnails, especially since some of you guys might be smaller content creators or content creators who just doesn't want to pay for software that is expensive. I know, because I had to pay Filmora, which is $80 for an individual license to keep forever. But guys, I hope this was useful. I know that this technically was a bit complex for some new people, but don't worry, it always gets easier, especially with how thumbnails are on this platform. The one thing I will remind you again of is to make sure that the file size for an image is big. And this is how you guys can tell. So we're gonna go back to Mario, and this is important for thumbnails because because we're lucky we found a big pack of pixels for this image right here. You guys saw it there. So as you guys can see right here, this is Mario. This is by 900 by 1199 pixels. This will look big on a thumbnail. This is 540 by 720, which will look a bit smaller on certain pixels. And of course, you have to really pay attention to the pixel because sometimes certain images will not look good at all on Google Drive, and if it doesn't look good on Google Drive, if you got Google Drawings, it will look terrible on another platform. This is also a good example of to make sure that your file size isn't like this, because this one is 187 by 300. This would look kind of okay, but at the same time it wouldn't look too good. And as you can see, if I were to put it forward, it will look a bit blurry and a bit messed up. So another reason why to basically make sure that you find a good image size. Thankfully for us, we found a good image size for once for this thumbnail. I hope this video was very interesting and useful to you. I know this was a bit off for some people, but hopefully for some of you guys will get used to it. It isn't hard to use. You just gotta make sure you find the perfect image size, and then you pretty much also have good imagination on how you can make your thumbnail better. And of course, you can also use your video games in-game camera like Smash Bros, Spider-Man, and a few other games that support in-game camera, like even like Fortnite, where you can use some cool ideas and pretty much make the thumbnail more like inspiring and more interesting with the point where people can just click on it easily. Until then, this is your boy IronSmasher 1024. I hope you guys enjoy the video, and I will see you guys later. Peace.